Good evening, you're watching the 7 o'clock English news from the Sultan Oman television. First, the headlines. U.S. President says his country would consider withdrawing from the World Trade Organization. The UN Atomic Agency reports Iran is sticking to the terms of its nuclear deal with the world powers. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent cable greetings to His Excellency President Shavkat Mirziyoyev of Uzbekistan on his country's Independence Day anniversary. His Majesty the Sultan has also sent cable greetings to His Excellency President Andrej Kiska of Slovakia on his country's National Day. U.S. President Donald Trump said in an interview with Bloomberg that he would consider withdrawing from the World Trade Organization, WTO, if they don't shape up, in a continuation of his criticism of the institution. Trump, who has previously criticized the WTO's dispute settlement system as being unfavorable to the U.S. and Washington, had rarely won a lawsuit there, although things began changing last year. China, which is currently embroiled in a trade war with the U.S., joined the WTO in 2001, a move which U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer has described as a mistake. Trump made the threat as Washington presses challenges at the WTO against trading partners that have fought back against tariffs on importers that were imposed by the Trump administration. European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker said the EU will respond in kind if US President Donald Trump renegates on his pledge not to impose car tariffs as trade tensions between Europe and the United States rose again. Juncker said today that the EU would not let anyone determine its trade policies if Washington decided to impose tariffs on vehicles after all. He said the EU will also do that. Trump rejected yesterday an EU offer to eliminate tariffs on cars and said the EU's trade policies are almost as bad as China. Juncker said he had negotiated a ceasefire agreement on trade with Trump in July, and while such deals were often jeopardized, they were generally respected. A UN Atomic Agency watchdog report showed yesterday that Iran is sticking to the terms of its nuclear deal with world powers despite ongoing uncertainty over its future. The report from the International Atomic Energy Agency showed that Iran was still complying with the key parameters of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action agreed in 2015 by Iran and the US, China, Russia, Britain, France and Germany. It comes despite the future of the deal being thrown into doubt after US President Donald Trump withdrew from the pact in May and reimposed US sanctions. The latest report says the IAEA had access to all sites and locations in Iran which it needed to visit. Iran's economy has been battered by the return of US sanctions following Trump's decision undermining support for the deal within Iran. Syrian opposition fighters blew up the bridge today linking areas they control on the government-held territories in northwestern Syria in anticipation of a military offensive against their last stronghold in the country. The explosion rocked the area in Al-Ghab plains south of Idlib and came after rebels detected government troops movement in the area. Most of the Idlib province and adjacent strips of Hama province remain in the hands of an assortment of armed groups, but the strongest alliance of fighters led by an Al-Qaeda-linked group that control most of the area. UN officials estimate an offensive would trigger a wave of displacement that would uproot up to 800,000 people. The area is already home to nearly 2 million displaced previously from other parts of Syria. Still to come on News Bulletin. A rare Queen porcelain bowl is expected to fetch more than $25 million in the Sotheby's upcoming autumn action. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman. Back in the Sultanate, a celebration will be held tomorrow to launch Suez Port as part of activation of plans to develop and operate small and medium ports along the coastline of the Sultanate to integrate with strategic ports that include Ashar, Duqm and Salalah. The commercial launching of the port stems from the government's attention to the main role of ports to supporting the national economic, enhancing the economic and social sector, and diversify the sources of national economy, attract foreign investments, and make the Sultanate as a global logistic hub. Suez Port is considered the nearest port to the logistic zone, Khazain, the governorate of South Batna, which will contain a central market for vegetables and fruits and logistic warehouses. Oman oil price October 2018 delivery reached $75 and 76 cents per barrel. According to Dubai Mercantile Exchange, Oman oil price declined by 53 cents. The average price of the Oman oil September 2018 delivery reached $73.17 per barrel, thus 44 cents lower than price of August delivery. As part of the project to facilitate services provided to deaf people and involve them in the community, Oman Association for Hearing Impaired organized a seminar on the technology that assists hearing impaired people. Some experts in the field took part from inside and outside the Sultanate. During the seminar, some projects were announced aiming at educating and raising awareness among deaf people and facilitate communication with them. It was also mentioned that the association is working with bodies concerned to open its branch in the government of Dhofar to enhance the role of community in helping this important segment of the society. An exhibition and training workshop on sign language was held on the sideline of the event. The concerned bodies or parties in the Sultanate are gearing up to participate in the Indian Ocean Wave 18 exercises to be held in a Sawadi village in Barka in South Batna Governorate. Our reporter Saleh bin Khalfan Rahbi has more details in the following report.
On September 4th, the Sultanate will participate in the Indian Ocean Wave 18 exercise, which is organized by the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO to assess and improve the effectiveness of the Indian Ocean tsunami warning and early warning system.
This exercise aims to spread awareness among the community about the risks of tsunami and train citizens and residents to do self-evacuation.
There will be self-evacuation of Al Sawadi village in the wilaya of Barka in South Al Batina Governorate to enhance readiness of the citizens and residents for tsunami dangers.
The concerned bodies in the Sultanate are training citizens and residents living in the Sawadi coastal area in Barka to take part in the evacuation to improve coastal community preparedness for tsunami emergencies.
The citizens in As-Sawadi praise such training and the amount of awareness given regarding tsunami dangers.
These lectures are very important. They gave us clear guidelines and ways to avoid such natural disasters.
This drill is held every 2 years, and it is attended by all countries bordering the Indian Ocean to minimize the loss of life and property and to ensure a structural and systematic approach in building community readiness. For the Sultanate of Oman Television, Saleh Mukhalfan al-Rahbi, South al-Batina, Governorate.
And finally, King Long Falanshai porcelain ball, estimated to fetch in excess of $25.6 million was previewed by the Sotheby's in Hong Kong. The auctioneers claimed that the ball is one of the most significant examples of King Long Falanshai in private hands and the only recorded examples of its design outside the National Palace Museum in Taipei. It refers to Emperor King Long, who ruled during the 18th century, while Falanshai usually refers to a decoration style which uses foreign imported enamels. The ball, which was produced during the Qing dynasty, was fired in Jingsan in the south of China and sent to Emperor in Beijing. It will go on auction in October. Now for the general focus around the Sultan, cloudy skies prevail over the coastal areas of the Governorate of Dhofar and its nearby mountains, with chances of intermittent drizzle. The rest of the Sultan will have clear skies with chances of cloud accumulation over the Hajar Mountains, low clouds and fog late at night, and early morning are expected over the coast of the Arabian Sea and the Sea of Oman. Winds will be south to southeasterly light to moderate, and seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before tonight's bulletin, the main points once again. The U.S. President says his country would consider withdrawing from the World Trade Organization in an interview with Bloomberg. And the UN Atomic Agency reports Iran is sticking to the terms of its nuclear deal with the world powers. And with that, we come to the end of the tonight's news bulletin from all of us here in the newsroom and the studios. Enjoy your weekend. Good night.